with Dr. Fizzlebob, Brock Eastman. We're talking about faith and science. And now I want to ask you, just before we dive into this experiment, because I've got all my supplies, and we're going to give our audience a chance to collect their supplies. We can post it in the description or on the screen. When we're talking about your book, Faith and Science, with Dr. Fizzlebob, you shared with us how you can believe in God and trust science at the same time. So which of all the experiments that you've done do you feel teaches you the most about God?
Oh man, okay. That's on the spot. That's a good question. Okay, I'm gonna say one thing. The inspiration behind the experiment we're about to do, here's what I love about this. I believe that in the morning when we wake up and we do our devotions or we spend any kind of time of worship, God, get this, fills us up for the day ahead. And so what we're actually going to practice in this experiment is called the fizz inflator, right? And the Bible verses that relate to it talk about how God fills us up. And so I actually have these balloon hearts that I typically put on this, and it fills your heart. And the fizz is God filling us up. So a lot of the experiments have all kinds of great stories there. This is probably actually one of my favorites, is why we use that, right? Because I do believe that when we focus on God, start our day that way, we are filled up for the whole day ahead. And I think kids are think that's pretty cool when they see what we do here in a moment.
Okay, well, let's get started. And we can chat while we're doing it, but lead the way.
Okay, well, hey, this is Fizztastic to be getting to do with you, Kara. I am so pumped and glad to have you here at Fizzlebop Labs today. So, we'll get going. I know you said the Fizzlebop list will be in the description here, but let's read it, right? Make sure our friends know at home what they need. So first, and tell me if you've got yours, we need a small balloon, or a balloon. We're going to need some vinegar. Excellent. We're going to need a small, empty plastic bottle.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yes. All right, then we're going to need a funnel, okay? Now, I do have two with me, and I'll explain that why, but you really do only need one funnel. We also need some baking soda. Mm-hmm. And because experiments need data, we need a string, which will come in handy at the end of our experiment. I've already got mine cut here. Remember, kids, if you're going to be cutting something, get permission from your parents before you use a scissors. All right, and last, a ruler, because we've got to find that measurement out, right? So that's our main things for this experiment. Again, super simple and really neato, I promise.
Okay, well, let's keep going. Let's get started, and then maybe while we're getting started, you can tell me if your kids, I know your kids do these experiments with you, do they have a favorite?
Yes. Okay, we can talk about that. There are several. And what I'm excited about is you will see over the course when we start launching the web series here after the book comes out November 9th, every week we'll be having a video come out with a new experiment. And my kids are my key lab assistants. I will always have a lab assistant. And trust me, they've already told me which ones they are going to be doing. So, while we're stretching out our balloon, first you're going to grab your balloon and you're just going to stretch it out. You can do this if you want to. You can blow it up a little bit. It's easier if you just stretch it with your hands, because if you blow it up and get too much saliva in there, it can make the baking soda stick. But it's not the end of the world if it doesn't. So stretch out that balloon nice and well. And honestly, this experiment is one of the first ones I did with my little guy Declan. And his eyes, when he saw what's going to happen, I don't give it away. It's just great. It was so exciting. All right, Kara, next we're going to get our vinegar. And we're going to take our clear bottle.
Yeah.
And then if you need help at home, have mom and dad help you. Or if you want to funnel. But the goal is to get vinegar, okay, into the bottle. Now, we're going to put about, if you're going to eye it, it's just going to be about maybe that much. About a quarter to a third of your bottle with vinegar, okay? Not too much.
This is where my producer says, don't spill vinegar all over the soundboard.
Don't spill vinegar all over the soundboard. Yes. Ooh, that's some good sound. You should be doing Foley. I like that.
Oh, yeah. We're adding a soundtrack. Have you ever had an experiment go totally wrong with your kids around?
Yes. So we've had a couple where we were filming this really cool one with Easter eggs. And it comes out in Easter. It'll come out around April 17th. April 12th, I think, is when I launch it. It is the coolest egg dyeing experiment. It's fizztastic because it has fizz, and your eggs look amazing afterwards. But what we did was, you take these eggs, and they have this colored baking soda around them, this paste, and you put it in vinegar, okay, to get the results. Well, we didn't put a tarp down on the floor, and we didn't expect quite the amount of fizz and bubbles we got, and so we had a very colorful rainbow carpet when we were all done.
Oh, no.
So that does happen at times. There are these moments when you're like, tarp. So we've tried to write in the book a lot of like tips, fizz tips is what we call them, to help parents and kids know, prepare for this. This could happen. So, but mostly, be in a place you can easily wash up. Maybe not over your carpet or your rug.
All right, so what's next now that our soundboard, exactly. So I've got about this much. I hope that's enough. What's
that
next?
Looks fantastic. It looks fizztastic. Sorry, that's the word we use. All right, so next you're going to grab your funnel,
okay,
and you're going to put that funnel in the end of your balloon. So like this. And this is why, for those at home and care, we don't want to use the same funnel we use if we use the funnel vinegar, we don't use the same one because we'll get a reaction in our funnel. So we don't want that. So we're gonna attach it like this. We got our balloon. It's nice and stretched. It's on the bottom of our funnel. We're gonna take our baking soda. It's nice you can do this two-handed, right? And we're gonna pour that baking soda in here. And I would just say fill your balloon about halfway full. Okay. Now, granted, the more vinegar and the more baking soda, the bigger the reaction.
I just made a poof cloud of baking soda smoke.
Definitely get that for sure. For sure. All right. So when you've got your baking soda in there, you can take out your funnel.
I think my baking soda is too clumpy. It's going in, but...
Clumpy? I might have a little bit too much baking soda in mine, to be honest. I'm going to empty
Is that so bad, though? No, I'm just kidding.
It'll be fantastic when it's done. For sure. And so then, yeah.
No, go ahead. I was gonna ask you, like, when we talked about this in your interview, that you weren't always into science. It was more when you became a dad and you wanted to keep your kids entertained and stuff. But when did you really realize, let's be honest here, that your nerdiness is actually a gift that can point kids to their creator?
It has to be my wife telling me that, honestly. She's helped me know that I should embrace my inner nerdiness to do this. It is, it's so much fun. There's so much of science. And I think sometimes I think about back to high school, right? And the things I was interested or not interested in. But what I missed out on if I would have embraced that part of me early on in some of the biology classes or chemistry classes, maybe where I'd be ahead of knowledge, or maybe even I'd taken a different career path. Now again, I think God's got a real clear path for us and He knows where we're going. That's why I am where I am. But man, I feel like I missed out on some cool stuff, not embracing that part of my who I am early on. So
yeah, I think it's a great lesson for kids too. It's like, just go with who you are. God's made you that way for a reason, and look at you now. Yeah, that's awesome. I think I may have too much also in here, so we'll see what happens.
Try it out and test things, right? Like, see what fits best. We have 4 kiddos. We're constantly saying, hey, do you want to try this? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do gymnastics or ballet or something? We're letting them feel things out to find out what they're gifted in. 2 of mine are doing acting right now, and they love it, right? We put them in that with them all to find out how's God created them, what are their interests, and what excites them. And you know what? Honestly, the more we've been doing science together, it's definitely an area that I see some just brilliance coming out of them with their imagination and their wonder. So
I love that. Okay, what's next now? Now I'm scared because we're getting to the fizz part, I think.
Yes. Well, you'll notice in the experiment it says this next part could get tricky. So hey, it might be good to have a parent or somebody with steady hands to help us. Now, don't worry, right? It's just baking soda and vinegar, so it's not the end of the world. But the goal is make sure that baking soda is down in the balloon, and then we're going to take the end of our balloon, and we're going to carefully put it over the end of the bottle without spilling baking soda into the balloon, because we don't want our reaction to start yet. Now, if you get a little baking soda in there, you might have a very minor reaction. Don't worry, that's not a big deal. So it should look like this. Your baking soda's here inside, and you've got the end around your balloon.
And
that looks fantastic.
You need a good seal.
Magnificent. Okay, so now, if we're ready, okay, this is what's going to happen. We'll do a countdown, if that works with you, Care. We're going to count down from 3. We're going to flip our balloon, and we're going to lift it over directly over the hole, and we'll hold it for a second. It won't take long, and you'll see some fantastic action going on, okay?
Okay,
you want to count us down there?
First, troubleshooting. If there is an emergency situation, is it possible that it could fill up the balloon so much that it could, be near exploding? Should I be ready to, pinch off the balloon, or just have a towel? So is that really all I can do?
Okay. That towel's good. It really depends on how much baking soda and vinegar is in here, honestly. the amount of gas. Basically, we're going to be creating gas. We're going to be creating an experiment, and that's what's going to happen. So it shouldn't. You can always also put your finger over the edge to make sure the balloon doesn't pop off. It shouldn't pop off. It should not overinflate. These balloons can go pretty big, so you should be okay. You should be okay.
Okay.
But that's science, right? We're experimenting, so...
I didn't get a lab coat for this one, though. I probably should. This is what the lab coat's for. Protect your clothes. Okay.
We'll need to have one for next time for sure, Kara. Let's do that.
Okay, so ready? Am I counting?
You count us down.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Empty into the... Oh, my goodness! Oh, my goodness. Here it goes. Here it goes. Here it goes.
Yeah, and you can see the fin is bubbling up within it as your balloon inflates bigger and bigger.
I might stretch my balloon more.
I might have dumped out too much of my baking soda. I would have expected mine to go bigger, but that's why we're going to measure. That's why we're going to measure.
So do we leave it? Do we take it off? Like, does it just stay inflated?
Yeah, you can let your hand go.
Oh my goodness! Look at that. It just stays
Isn't
like
that great? Because you created gas in here now. So
there. Sorry, I should have held it out here. Realizing
there's your inflated balloon.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And it'll hold that there until ultimately it starts to seep out through your balloon, right? So there it is. And was that not super simple?
Totally.
And neato. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool what's going on there. So, like I said, our next part, it's important to observe. So, I'd ask everybody at home right now, look at your balloon. Did you see the reaction? Did you see the bubbles? Did you see the gas going up? And maybe what you experienced early on like I did, the reaction was so big that I actually had the liquid up in the balloon for a moment before it settled down and came back down. But that grabbed all the baking soda, it made the maximize the reaction, and then down we have a little bit left here of some vinegar and so forth on the bottom. So
cool.
That's it. Cool. Yeah. So then we want to make sure we do our science, right? And let's see, do you have your string and your ruler nearby?
I do.
So very simply, we're just going to take around the widest part of the balloon. It doesn't have to be perfectly accurate. You're going to take your string and you're going to put it there, and you're going to hold your fingers to wherever the ends meet, right? Where the end and then the other area meets. Mine's actually almost my entire length of my string.
Yeah, mine's doing pretty good right there.
It's pretty good. And so mine is actually at 12 and 12. Oh, and then throw my ruler. Mine's about 22 inches in diameter.
Okay, so mine starts here. Oh wait, no, it's not inches, that's centimeters. Okay.
Well, that's great, because mine's inches. So mine's in 22 inches, and I can give you centimeters too, because we did create the book. This is great, Kara. The book has metric and English Standard. I forgot. It has both.
Metric and the other one, yeah.
Yeah, the other one. I think it's like English Standard or something like that. I should know that in the book. That way, anybody can do this with what they have available to them. So, yes. And I'll tell you mine in centimeters. I've got 22 inches. And then in my centimeters,
I think I have 22 and a half because I'm up to 20, and then I had to loop around, and now it's the 10 and a half. Or, if I stretch it a little, if I stretch the string a little, it's 22 and a half.
So your reaction was bigger. Either you stretched the balloon out more, or you had more baking soda and vinegar. But congrats, Kara. You made the bigger balloon. Awesome. Awesome.
Thanks, Dr. Fizzlebot. Well, that was so much fun. Well, I know there's lots of experiments. There's actually 52 fantastically fun experiments and devotions for families with prayers and research questions and stuff in his book, Faith and Science with Dr. Fizzlebop. That was so much fun. And again, you've got a YouTube channel launching as well with tons of how-to videos, so be sure to check that out. Brock Eastman, a.k.a. Dr. Fizzlebop, thank you so much. That was so fun.
Thank you for having me, Kara. I so appreciate it. It was a blast. I hope we can do it again.